Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FrostBytez Gaming Experience, part number 7 of the Pokemon Emerald walkthrough, where first off we're going to be dealing with this guy who is known as Mr. Trickster, I believe is what he calls himself. This is an interesting house where there's a bunch of obstacles you got to go through, quote-unquote. They're not really obstacles. All they really are, they're basically just HM obstacles, really. You can only do these once you have the corresponding HM to deal with the said trick house. So in this case, because we already have access to the HM of Cut, we can actually do it because all that's going to be in our ways that are obstacles are going to be a bunch of trees that we can utilize Cut to get on through. Every single time you get a new HM, you can come back to here and do the next challenge because, you have the availability to do it. If you do not, however, at the time have the correct HM, then you go and you talk to the guy and he's going to say, oh, it's not exactly ready for you just yet. I kind of wanted to show it off in the beginning here, but I will not be showing it off every single time that I get a new HM. I'm going to wait till I have all of the HMs and come back here and take care of them all at once. I just kind of wanted to give it a first showcase so that it's like, hey, there's a reason why this house is randomly here in between routes 109. Well, actually, no, it's more on in the middle of route number 110 and next to route number 103, which we are actually finally going to be going back to route 103 and actually can go over the rest of the stats that we skipped over because we did not have the availability of surf or fishing. And now that we have the availability of fishing, we might as well go through all of it. But we'll worry about that once we start heading towards route 103. And, when we actually finally do it. A couple trainers that you actually do fight against just to get yourself some free experience. I do recommend doing the Trickster house and then route number 103 before continuing on to route 110, because as you're going to see later on, there is a certain fight that we have to do along the route of route number 110, and so you definitely want to make sure that your Pokemon are at the best level they can possibly be just to make the fight much easier. Okay, so we take care of the Trickster house, we go to route number 103, we start off route number 110, that's pretty much where we call it the part. We're not going to finish up all of route 110 because there's a lot of trainers we got to go through, and that's going to be taking up the entirety of the video, basically. There's no wild encounters, thank God. I was able to sneak on through without having to use any of my repels just yet. But in order to get through this Trickster house, we got to go through a certain door. However, the door is being blocked, and we can only do it if we have a certain password. That's where that one piece of paper that you see laying there is. We got to fight this one trainer and then get ourselves the piece of paper, see what it says, and utilize that to put in the right code to get through the door. They're really cheesy codes. But as you can see, when you're talking with some of these, they're like, oh, who is the Trickster? I just randomly showed up here. So apparently this guy is nothing but a pedophile. Because all he's doing is he's stealing children and forcing him to be a part of his little games. Rather creepy. For some reason, this game, more than any Pokemon game that I remember playing, has a lot of weird tones of how adults treat children in the Pokemon world. This guy would be arrested on the spot for kidnapping these children and basically placing them in this trick house. Like 100%. Even if they just randomly stumbled upon the place, there is no excuse for him to keep him held captive there. The kid's just like, oh, I just suddenly ended up here and then I lose a Pokemon battle. And who knows, that Pokemon that we took out was probably his only means of escaping the clutches of the Trickster. But no, we took that away, and so now the kid's basically stuck there for the rest of his life. Very dark indeed. Would not doubt if that's actually what's going on here. Okay? I know that because it's a kids game, we're supposed to be like, oh, because they're just playing, having fun and all that, but we've got a dude with glasses following us everywhere we go. We have adults continuously taking our cell phone and forcing their number in it for rematch battles. And now we got some dude that just kidnaps people and forces them to be a part of his obstacles. Like, we chose to be a part of it. That's different. But the people in here, it sounds like none of them chose to be a part of this little fun house of his. It's rather creepy, very unsettling, not something that I really agreed to. And again, for some reason, Gen 3 really showcases it the most to me. Obviously, in every single generation, you're going to have adults being really weird to your main character and sometimes say certain interesting things. But again, not to really the extent of this. I mean, look at this guy. He doesn't look like somebody you can just trust with random children in his house. Are we not going to go and phone the police on this guy? He's just going to give us a rare candy and suddenly all is well? You know, and now he's got to make up new tricks, which probably means he's going to be stealing more children. Is this Dr. Giraud we're dealing with here? Is he making androids without us knowing? Who knows? But I guess we'll have to figure that out later, because we're done with the first instance of the trickery house. And I showcase, you know, what happens when you don't have the correct corresponding HM to deal with the next obstacle that he has set up for you, where he's going to stand in front of it and he says... He kind of mumbles to himself, oh, if I use this, if I do this, and oh my god, it's so difficult, even for someone that's as genius as me, a children kidnapper. You know, I'm such a genius, and it's even so difficult for me, I don't think anyone's going to be able to get through this. And then all you really need is the HM Rock Smash, and then you're good to go. So really, it's not all that hard, dude. You can just chill out a little bit over there. Kind of like I should probably chill out on freaking out, but it's still weird. You know, adults are a little much in this game, especially ones like the Poke Fanatics. They're very adequate on making sure that you have their number in their phones. What do they want from us? What do these people need so badly that our 10, 11, 12-year-old selves have? You know, we beat you in a Pokemon fight, and apparently you got to make yourself feel better about yourself, so you're like, nope, this isn't over yet. We're going to have a rematch. Guarantee it. Give me your phone. I guarantee if I went to any 11 or 12-year-old boy or girl and demanded that they gave me their phone so I could put my phone number into it, I know the first thing I'm going to is not the Elite Four. I'm going to be going into Elite something else, an Elite Brass of policemen that's going to be throwing me in my own little special cell. Alright, so, I don't know. It's really weird to me with this game, because it feels more, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird to me. All right. But I want to get off of that subject, because let's go into the subject. We're back in route number 103. Now, I already went all over the grass Pokemon that you can run into, which is going to be on the eastern side, the western side of the water. But now that we're on the eastern side, we actually are capable of... well, getting the items, because all 4 items are on the eastern side of the water, so we're actually capable of finally getting those, which you guys will see in due time. But then also, because since we do have a fishing pole now, we can actually talk about what you can run into. If you are surfing in all 3 versions, you have a 60% chance to run into a Tentacle, 35% for a Wingull, and a 5% for a Pelipper. Sound familiar? Well, we're finally going to start deviating a little bit when it comes to the fishing. 30% chance you can run into a Tentacool, and a 70% chance for a Magikarp if you use the old rod. With the good rod, you have a 20% chance for a Tentacool, 60% chance for a Magikarp, and a 20% chance for a Wailmer. And with the Super Rod, you only have a 60% chance for a Wailmer, as the other 40% chance you have is catching a Sharpedo, actually. So, a lot of the same. It really feels like no matter where you go water-wise, you're going to be running into the same kind of Pokemon, but they do tend to deviate here and there, and the biggest one is obviously being able to catch a Sharpedo if you do have the Super Rod. We do not, so we're not going to worry about that anytime. Plus, Sharpedo's not going to be a part of our team. I'm looking at another water type to join the team. It's going to be a bitch to get it. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure they already knew when I brought it up a couple episodes ago, where I talked about one of the partners of my team being relatively tough to get. And yeah, not looking forward to that, because I could be at it for a long time. We will see. But, you know, I'm willing to endure that, because I wanted this Pokemon for a long time. Never once have had it. Because, obviously, as a kid... well, I'd still technically say I was a kid. If you're in middle school, you're a kid. You know, even if you're in high school, you're a kid. Even though you're a teen, you're still technically a kid. Enjoy being a kid. All right? But even so, when I first played Pokemon Emerald, I didn't have a guide to show me what can be caught where. All right? All I knew was at one point I went against this Pokemon. I'm like, oh my god, that's awesome. How do I get that? And I looked it up, and I saw what I needed to run into, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if I can find it. And I would go to every single water area. I never ran into it. I had no idea how to catch it. And, you know, obviously now with the age of the internet, as well as just having like guides that tell you how to catch certain Pokemon and whatnot, you find out all the difficulties that is required when it comes to catching this certain Pokemon. And it's like, are you kidding me? Why is it so hard to catch one particular Pokemon? It's actually insane how difficult they actually make it. So, I don't know. But that'll be for another time when we actually get that far. I don't know how long it's going to be until I actually try to catch a certain Pokemon. Unfortunately, we're not going to be catching the next member of our team until probably about another 2 or 3 episodes. That does mean that when we actually do when we do the next gym leader, I will not have the next member of my team ready for it, unfortunately. I do believe in this instance... Oh, no, you can't battle. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking that you could battle the guy that's staring off into the water, but I forgot that you cannot. He just kind of talks about how you can surf across to get to the other side of Route 103. It would have been very interesting, though, if you could battle him, because if you talk to him immediately when the fisherman looks at you, it would be an interesting way of setting up a double battle, where you have to time talking to the person right when the fisherman runs downward and first glances at you. Would have been a little bit interesting, but you know what? What can you do? What the hell was I even talking about? I don't know. Something. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, I won't have another member of the team for the next gym fight. I have to beat the next gym in order to get the next Pokemon that I do want on my team. But don't worry, a new Pokemon is eventually coming soon. I know people at this point are probably tired of seeing Combuskin and Sableye all the time. But right now, there's no one else I really want on my team that I can get anytime soon. Unfortunately, a lot of the Pokemon members I do want on my team are more towards the mid to late game. But, you know, I want them. It's my walkthrough / let's play. I know some people have brought up in the past, like, how can you call this walkthrough? Well, some person actually did comment on one of my older, like, Pokemon Gold videos, like, how do you call this a walkthrough if you're talking over it? Well, again, to me, the difference between a walkthrough and a Let's Play is that in some cases in a Let's Play, you're just playing it for fun. And, you know, if weird things happen, or it could be a game that you never played before, whereas a walkthrough, you're kind of showing people how to go from one area to the other. Now, technically, both can be seen almost exactly the same. If you're, doing a Let's Play, you are showing how to go from one area to another. But in more cases, Let's Plays to me are always playing it, just for fun. Walkthrough is where you're trying to achieve something. The reason why I label my Pokemon games as walkthroughs instead of Let's Plays is because I'm trying to achieve showing you guys where all the items are, where all the trainers are. I'm showing you guys essentially how to beat the game minus the Pokedex and some other smaller things that I don't think are nearly as important in my opinion. So... yeah, it's both a walkthrough and a Let's Play when it comes to Pokemon. I just put it under the walkthrough name because I am actually trying to showcase, technically 100%ing the game as far as items and trainers go and whatnot. Generally, everything else I put up as a Let's Play because it's either my first time playing it or I'm just doing it for fun and I'm not looking to showcase every little thing. And also, I like to put in the term of walkthrough for games that I have to do post-commentary on, because I'm looking to edit out a lot of stuff like, random battles that I don't really want to have in. And so, I tend to make Let's Plays more live commentary rather than post-commentary. But anyways, with that said, we are now on route number 110. Got quite a bit we got to go through here. In all three versions, you have a 10% chance to catch an Oddish. Ruby and Sapphire versions, you have a 20% chance to catch a Zigzagoon, with the other 20% chance in the Emerald version being for a Poochyena. 8% chance for a Wingull in all three versions, along with a 30% chance for an Electrike in all three versions. For a Plusle, or however it is again you pronounce it, I still don't know, I still don't care. Ruby and Emerald version, you have a 2% chance of catching, where in the Sapphire version you have a 15% chance of catching it. And Minun, you have a 15% chance of catching in the Ruby and Emerald version, whereas in the Sapphire version you only have a 2% chance. And a Gulpin, all three versions, you have a 15% chance of catching. If you are surfing or fishing, it is all the same as it's pretty much been everywhere else. 60% Tentacool, 35% Wingull, 5% Pelipper, Old Rod, 30% Tentacool, 70% Magikarp, Good Rod, 20% Tentacool, 60% Magikarp, 20% Wailmer, and 100% Wailmer if you are using a Super Rod, just like everywhere else. So, the fight we are looking to start up for is going against our rival trainer in May, starting off with a Lombre. The reason why I start off with Sableye is because A, I have the move Fake Out, so get myself some free extra damage on in. And the other reason is because in test playing, one of the moves Lombre would always use on me is a Growl. And I did not want to get growled on my Combuskin, because then the next Pokemon coming up in Marshtomp completely dominates me because I cannot immediately destroy him with my double kick. So instead I think to myself, alright, well, you know what, I might as well just try and push Sableye a bit, get as much damage as I can on this Marshtomp, and, keep going until he eventually fades and I can have Combuskin finish it up all for me. Thing is, Marshtomp decides not to use one of his more powerful moves, and I can't remember what the name of it is. It's like, Mud Bomb, is it? Oh, man, what was it called? I don't even remember. He decides to use Water Gun on me, and Sableye is pretty decent against Water Gun, so doesn't even get close to taking me out, and Nightshade just kind of takes care of the rest for me. And then, yeah, say hello to Slugma, you know, get ourselves, you know, a little bit further than I thought we would with Sableye. This is... And yeah, I get hit with the Yawn, which also really sucks. Yawn is probably one of my favorite moves because I think it's 100% chance guaranteed to make your opponent fall asleep, but it takes a turn for it to happen. So if you're dunce like me and go for Fury Swipe and miss it, then it's going to hit no matter what. And instead of wasting everyone's time, I decided to switch out a Combuskin. Well, I originally thought I was going to be out to do this fight anyways, but whatever. This is one of the hardest fights that I remember, next to going against Whitney's Milk Tank, going against Jasmine's Steelix. I don't know. I remember getting really stuck at this portion because May's Marsh Stomp does a lot of damage to you. Even if you're relatively higher level, the attack stat on it, along with whatever that mud attack was that I can't remember off the top of my head, being ground, really just rips through your defenses, especially if you try and run with the Combuskin, because being fire type, you're going to get drilled by the ground typing of that move. What was the name of that attack? It's not Mud Bomb, it's Mud something or other, I think. It's a lot like Mud Slap, but it's a much stronger version. But anyways, I don't fully remember off the top of my head. I apologize for that. Everyone knows probably what I'm talking about anyways, so, you know, hey, it happens. But with that, we are actually going to call it a part right there, ladies and gentlemen. So I do hope you enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we'll catch you all on the next part.